Linus Pauling. This fruit is the main source of an impenetrable immune system. Linus Pauling was one of the few scientists in history to have received two unshared Nobel Prizes, one in chemistry and another in peace. While his scientific contributions covered everything from quantum chemistry to molecular biology, many people remember him best for his passionate advocacy of vitamin C. Over time, he became convinced that this humble nutrient could play a pivotal role in fortifying our immune defenses. In today's narrative, we explore Pauling's belief that a certain fruit is not just a tasty snack, but a key ally against illness. By the end, we will uncover a surprising twist regarding how Pauling viewed nutrition and the body's capacity to heal. Picture the early 20th century, with scientific research evolving at a dramatic pace. Chemistry began unlocking the secrets of atomic bonds, and biology shed new light on vitamins and minerals. Among these eager researchers was Linus Pauling, a brilliant mind determined to understand the molecular structures underlying chemical reactions. His devotion to detail and logic eventually led him to define the nature of the chemical bond, a feat that earned him a Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1954. But Pauling's interests would not remain confined to the boundaries of chemistry labs. During his later years, he developed a fervent fascination with the role of nutrition in maintaining health and longevity. He believed that molecules were not just abstract entities in test tubes, but the fundamental building blocks of life processes. If certain molecules could be harnessed to fight disease, regulate bodily functions, or prevent infections, then understanding them was essential for anyone who wanted to live better and longer. Around the 1960s and 1970s, Pauling started writing and speaking extensively about vitamin C, ascorbic acid. He argued that this essential nutrient could do more than stave off scurvy. In his eyes, vitamin C could bolster the immune system, shorten the duration of common colds, and perhaps even combat more serious conditions. This stance was controversial. Many in the medical establishment dismissed Pauling's ideas as overblown or too simplistic. But Pauling stood his ground. He pointed to biochemical pathways showing how vitamin C supports white blood cells, fights oxidative stress, and strengthens collagen. And then came the fruit. Throughout his talks and writings, Pauling would often single out citrus fruits, particularly oranges, as an excellent source of vitamin C. However, his reference to fruit went beyond just oranges. He praised grapefruits, lemons, limes, and other natural sources of ascorbic acid. Later research would highlight additional vitamin C powerhouses like kiwis and certain tropical fruits, but citrus remained emblematic of Pauling's nutritional crusade. In interviews and speeches, he spoke excitedly about how a simple, zesty orange could be a daily shield against common ailments. As with many topics he embraced, Pauling did not hold back in stating his convictions. He used phrases such as impenetrable immune system, especially when describing what he believed could be achieved through a diet rich in vitamin C. Critics often reminded him that impenetrable was a strong word, yet Pauling insisted that it was not hyperbole if people truly optimized their intake of the nutrient. To him, an impenetrable immune system was one robust enough to reduce the frequency and severity of illnesses, giving the body a fighting chance against pathogens. Here's a question for you. How often do you rely on fresh fruits and vegetables to support your health? And do you believe that a single nutrient can have a dramatic effect on immunity? Feel free to share your perspective in the comments below. Over time, Pauling's stance sparked heated debates. Traditional medicine argued that while vitamin C was undeniably important, Pauling's recommended doses were excessively high. Mainstream guidelines typically advised much lower amounts for daily intake. Pauling, however, stood by his belief in megadoses, sometimes suggesting multiple grams per day. He cited examples of people who had experimented with higher doses of vitamin C and reported fewer colds, faster recovery times, and overall improved well-being. Regardless of the controversies, one cannot deny that Pauling's enthusiasm influenced a new wave of interest in nutritional supplements. Health food stores began prominently displaying vitamin C products, and the general public's awareness of the nutrient skyrocketed. For many, the image of an orange became synonymous with health and vitality. Whether you were an athlete seeking faster recovery or a busy professional hoping to ward off colds, Pauling's message resonated. Perhaps the humble fruit could be a frontline defense for your body. People sometimes forget that Pauling's obsession with vitamin C was part of a broader vision of orthomolecular medicine. This was his idea that the right molecules in the right concentrations could optimize health and treat disease. He believed that many conditions might stem from chemical imbalances that could be corrected through tailored nutrition. Vitamin C was just one example, albeit the most famous, of his larger philosophy. However, Pauling's claims eventually extended beyond the common cold. He suggested that high vitamin C intake might play a role in cancer therapy and heart disease prevention. These assertions brought him under fire from segments of the scientific and medical communities who demanded more rigorous clinical trials. Pauling retorted that the promising case studies and preliminary findings he cited were reason enough to continue serious investigation. And that's precisely the spirit he hoped to inspire in everyday people. A willingness to explore scientific evidence for themselves, rather than relying solely on official guidelines. He wanted individuals to experiment, within reason, with their own vitamin C intake, pay attention to their body's responses, and draw practical conclusions about what worked best. That experimental attitude echoed Pauling's entire career, from analyzing atomic orbitals to proposing new forms of molecular structures. Imagine Pauling at home, every morning slicing open a fresh orange or grapefruit, savoring the tangy smell of the citrus oils, and reflecting on how those molecules were about to interact with his body at the cellular level. For him, this was not just breakfast. It was a daily dose of scientific wonder, a physical manifestation of his conviction that knowledge of chemistry could empower anyone to live more healthfully. His message found a receptive audience among those searching for more natural ways to maintain health. The post-World War II era had seen a surge in pharmaceutical interventions, some of which proved life-saving, while others came with significant side effects. Pauling offered an alternative perspective. Before turning to synthetic drugs, why not maximize the potential of natural compounds, particularly those found in fruits like oranges, lemons, or grapefruits? At this point, one might ask, did Pauling's own health reflect his beliefs about vitamin C and fruit consumption? In some respects, yes. He lived a long and productive life, remaining intellectually active into his 90s. He credited his vibrant mind partly to his nutritional regimen. Of course, genetics and environment also play significant roles, but Pauling believed wholeheartedly that consistent vitamin C intake contributed to his longevity and intellectual sharpness. Let us pause to consider the typical modern diet: processed foods, refined sugars, and high sodium. Many of us forget to include nutrient-rich fruits in our daily meals. Pauling would have pointed to this as a prime example of missing out on nature's simplest health strategy. If an orange is readily available, if a kiwi or a grapefruit is within reach, why not incorporate it as a first line of defense? He also had a sense of realism. He acknowledged that not everyone would convert to a fruit-heavy diet or pop large doses of vitamin C supplements. But he hoped that by spreading his message, more people would at least become aware of the powerful biochemical interactions we often take for granted. In essence, he wanted individuals to become molecular architects of their own well-being. The controversy around Pauling's claims persisted, with some critics accusing him of oversimplifying complex immunological processes. However, more recent research does support the idea that sufficient vitamin C is crucial for immune function, tissue repair, and antioxidant protection. Whether or not one needs the megadoses Pauling recommended remains a point of debate among researchers, but the basic premise, that vitamin C is key to robust health, is widely accepted. Now consider how a single nutrient found in fruit might relate to an impenetrable immune system. To Pauling, it was not that vitamin C alone could make you impervious to disease. Rather, he believed vitamin C worked synergistically with other factors like rest, exercise, and stress management to create a strong physiological barrier against common illnesses. By ensuring that you consumed plenty of vitamin C-rich fruits, You could, in his words, give your immune system its best possible shot at success. Have you ever noticed a tangible difference in how you feel when you increase your intake of fresh fruits or vitamin C supplements? Perhaps you find you have more energy or fewer sick days. Let us know in the comments if you have had any experiences that echo Pauling's ideas. In classrooms and lecture halls, Pauling would stand at the podium, a commanding presence with his mop of white hair, expounding on the wonders of molecular bonds one moment and the virtues of vitamin C the next. Students found his passion infectious. Even those who disagreed with him on dosage or the extent of vitamin C's benefits could not deny his fierce commitment. He encouraged them to question, investigate, and replicate. If you doubt his findings, he would say, run your own experiments. Measure how you feel, track your illnesses, test your blood. That was the scientific spirit he championed. He did not just want people to accept his claims. He wanted them to become active participants in their own health journey. That mindset of being an explorer in the laboratory of life is arguably one of Pauling's greatest legacies, even beyond the specifics of vitamin C. In his later years, Pauling founded the Linus Pauling Institute, devoted to research on micronutrients and their impact on human health. The Institute's work continues to this day, exploring how vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals help combat oxidative stress and chronic disease. While modern scientists may or may not share Pauling's exact stance on high-dose vitamin C, his broader principle endures: that nutrition research deserves deep, ongoing scientific attention, and that each nutrient can play a vital role in our overall resilience. Now for the twist we promised. Pauling's claim that this fruit is the main source of an impenetrable immune system sometimes led people to assume he believed in a single magic bullet. But in truth, Pauling's broader writings suggest something more nuanced. He recognized that an orange or any vitamin C-rich fruit, on its own, could not guarantee perfect health if the rest of one's lifestyle was detrimental. Lack of sleep, chronic stress, smoking, or extreme inactivity would undermine even the best diet. So, the twist is that while Pauling passionately championed citrus fruits as a powerful ally, he also stressed the synergy among multiple facets of health. Vitamin C was a star player, but not the only one. For an impenetrable immune defense, one needed an entire orchestration of good habits: balanced nutrition, adequate rest, exercise, stress management, and a willingness to continually learn about how your body responds to these factors. The fruit was the emblem, not the entirety. This perspective aligns surprisingly well with modern holistic medicine. We now understand that wellness involves a network of relationships among nutrients, hormones, emotions, and lifestyle choices. Pauling, in his own sometimes controversial way, was an early visionary of that interconnected perspective. His emphasis on a single nutrient might appear extreme, but his core message about synergy remains timely. So how can we apply Pauling's advice today, in a practical sense? Perhaps it is as simple as adding a fresh orange to your breakfast or sipping on lemon water throughout the day. Maybe it means exploring higher-dose vitamin C supplements when you feel a cold coming on, though you might want to consult a healthcare professional for guidance. Beyond that, we can take a page from Pauling's broader philosophy and see fruit intake as part of a larger puzzle. Are you sleeping enough? Do you manage stress effectively? Are you physically active? Imagine you wake up one morning feeling a bit run down. Instead of immediately reaching for an energy drink or sugary snack, you could pause and think, what would Linus Pauling suggest? Probably something along the lines of grabbing a juicy orange or grapefruit, making sure you drink enough water, and asking yourself whether you got sufficient rest. By making small, consistent choices that honor your body's nutritional needs, you inch closer to that impenetrable immune system Pauling envisioned. In many interviews, Pauling would end on a hopeful note, reminding people that our bodies are resilient marvels of evolution, capable of incredible feats of self-repair. He believed that with the right molecular support, we could live not just longer, but better. That optimism remains a beacon, encouraging us to rethink the power of simple, wholesome foods in an era dominated by processed fare and quick fixes. Now, as we near the close of this exploration of Linus Pauling's passion for fruit and immune strength, consider one more question. If you had to pick a single habit to adopt this week for improving your own immunity, whether it is adding a piece of fruit to every meal or starting a new exercise routine, what would it be and why? By answering that question, you tap into the essence of Pauling's legacy, self-experimentation, informed by scientific curiosity, aiming to uplift your well-being day by day. Whether or not you agree with all his conclusions, his adventurous spirit in applying chemistry to everyday life remains deeply inspiring. And so we leave you with the enduring image of a brilliant scientist, orange in hand, confidently asserting that within that bright rind lies more than just a pleasant taste, perhaps the seed of a healthier, more vibrant life for us all.